Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here today. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we're coming to you from the Latch Development Center at 111 Riverfront Street in downtown Winona. And as always, we're here with head coach Brian Bergstrom to review this weekend's game against Sioux Falls. And, I gotta say, without hyperbole, this might have been one of the best football games that I think I have seen at Winona State during my time here. But your thoughts on knocking off the number 11 team in the country?
Yeah, well, it was certainly the best one I've experienced so far. It was you couldn't have scripted the day any better in terms of the weather and the crowd and the game day experience and homecoming and the way that we played. We would have loved to start faster,
Sure,
certainly, but at the end of the day, I couldn't have written a better story for our team because I think it helped us grow the most. We're able to look back on this game now and say these are areas that we got to grow in, and we got to start faster because we can't always do this to ourselves and wait for something to happen. But the way that we responded specifically in the last three quarters and kept the fight, and the crowd was awesome, great environment. It kind of lived up to the hype of what it would be when it's full, and really blessed to be a part of the day.
And I saw that there were some recruits that were there too, so that was a pretty good showcase for your program, and being able to knock off a team and then have the crowd there like it was, that's a pretty good advertisement for Winona State.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we have recruits pretty much every game, but when they're able to see it on that stage, and we had some good ones there, and all the alumni back and the families, and just one of the biggest things I'm proud of our football team is their ability to make the plays when it really mattered. Yeah. And because teams that aren't quite ready to win those type of games find ways to lose them. And USF had found ways to win those types of games, and they're a really good football team. They were 7-0 because they're really good, and they were 11th in the country because they're really good. And I think what it proved to our guys again is keep believing, keep buying in, keep trusting the system and trusting yourselves, and we can do some pretty special things, and we're going to have to go do it again this week. We'll have another battle. So
I want to talk defense first because, again, you had a huge running opponent come in, and like Southwest the week before, and you held them under 100 yards. Now, I understand Thoreau Reisdorfer only played a couple of plays in the first quarter, and I'm not sure if he got injured or what happened during that, but their backup, Lance Freeman, was a good running back as well, and yet you were still able to handle him. So tell us a little bit about the defense, especially the run defense, because right now this defense is scary.
Yeah, we're built on stopping the run first, and you obviously got to stop all of it. You can't just say you're stopping one, but that's where it starts, and it starts with our defensive line, and then moves backwards, and we're all better when our D-line is good, and they're the strength of our defense, and we take a lot of pride in that. And it really doesn't matter who they put back there if you do a good job of doing your job, filling your gap, and then being great tacklers, which for much of the game we were. You can stop really, really good running backs, and we had a ton of respect for their run game, as anyone should. And that was a key cog in what went on Saturday, because we were able to get them in some longer D&Ds in a situation where they hadn't been as much throughout the course of the year. So critical.
Yeah, and they were also a good third down conversion team coming into the game, but I think they ended up 4 of 13 or something like that. So the defense did their job when it really counted on third down as well.
Yeah, when we look at the two biggest strengths, it was stopping the run and then being great and disruptive, especially on third down. They had only given up 4 sacks all year, and we had 4 sacks on Saturday. We had 9 TFLs. And they have an impressive offensive line. Their lines are very impressive in terms of their size and their strength and their length. And our guys, in many ways, felt like out-efforted them and wanted it more and didn't quit. And they kept believing longer. And it's a great lesson for us to learn, because this is one of those games we'll look back on and say that we learned a lot about ourselves, and we can be a special group.
Now, obviously, Mitch Snitker is one of the guests here today, and Clay Scheffner and Kaiwan Vendrowski. We knew that they would always have big games, and they did in this one. But Tristan Root, I mean, I just can't say enough about him just because, he's a second team defensive player, but yet he seems to just be everywhere where the ball is. And I don't know, maybe you need to get him in there for a field goal so he can score that way too. But he's got the interception, he had the return or the fumble or punt block return for the touchdown earlier this year. But just the way that he's playing is incredible this year.
Yeah, he's a special human being, and he's a team first guy, and he's going to do whatever you ask him to do, whether it's punting or special teams or defense or rotate in or play a bunch. And we play a lot of guys on defense, and many times we'll go with the hot hand, and he was playing well. He was fitting things well, and he was around the football and also punting the ball very well and playing on special teams very well. But he does have a great knack for both him and Mitch, and a lot of our safeties, Vernon too, have a great knack for finding the football and playing instinctually. You don't have to teach them everything in terms of how to get to the ball because they just feel it. And that's an incredibly hard thing to coach, and he did a great job of making plays when he got in position. And I think he had that interception that they said was incomplete, so he should have had another big play.
Our replay kind of looked like that too, and I heard the reaction of the crowd once that was played again, so I kind of agree with you there. All right, let's talk about then the offense, because again, the quarterback rotation worked out really well. The running game was kind of spread out a little bit, and then the receivers were spread out a little bit too. Cooper Nelson ended up with a touchdown, diving towards the pylon touchdown. Tell us a little bit about how the offense played this week.
Well, I think one of the hardest things to defend with our offense is how we spread the ball around to different weapons, and that's quarterback, receiver, tight end, running back. I mean, it's everywhere. Though you can't key in on one guy. And yeah, Cooper had a big touchdown. Joe Sikma had a big touchdown. Ricky had some catches, but last game it was some other guys, and Sam Santiago Lloyd carried more of the load this week, and Ty Gavin Head, and they'll both be very healthy this week, so we're excited about that. But what I'm most proud of with them is with our offense, we just kept fighting. We just kept fighting, and it's ugly at times. It was a really good defense, but you kept fighting, and we outrushed them like 120 to 70. So we got over 100 yards rushing, and we did what we needed to do to win the football game. And for much of it, and especially late in the game, was controlling the football, flip the field. Let's get field position back and then punt the ball. And when we do that, we just clean up the takeaways. We had a couple of key interceptions that we got to clean up, but again, a team game, and beat a really good team.
And then the last thing, special teams, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you had that one punt where the special teams hustled down the field. Sioux Falls kind of gave up on it because they thought that the ball was going to go into the end zone. You down it at the 1 yard line, and that was a key play in the game.
That's another great reminder of how important field position is. You play different type of offense when you're on the half-yard line than when you're out in the middle of the field. And statistically, it's harder to score the longer you have to go. It's not hard to rationalize that, but sometimes in the flow of the game, you forget about all those things that are happening. Huge punt by Tristan. I mean, he boomed it. And then great hustle to get down there and keep the ball from crossing the line. Your body can go in the end zone, but just the ball cannot cross the line. And it's a credit to our guys wanting it more.
And how much is something like that practice? Because obviously you have the guy diving to bat the ball away and then sliding and having control of the ball and stopping before you get to the goal line. Is that something that you practice a lot, or?
No, some of it. I mean, you talk about the rules a lot, and we practice punt all the time.
Yeah.
But in terms of like going live and like diving into the end zone and batting it in and sliding, more of those type of drills would be done in like spring football or fall camp. This time of year, we're not doing it. You're banking on their banked and stacked reps over time and being instinctual, like we talked about. Being able to keep it up and rely on them to be an athlete and do the job, and they did, and that was huge for our defense because I think they then had to punt, which, by the way, our student section is awesome down there and very loud, and we're going to need you again this week. But it was kind of a shank punt, so then our offense got the ball back at the 35, and their field position was flipped, and that's a key part of football.
All right. Yeah, it was a big win for the Warriors. They're now atop the NSIC South. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll get the player perspective as we speak with running back Ty Gavin right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Russell Associates, and we're coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk a little offense with running back Ty Gavin. Ty, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's find out a little bit about you first. How did you get here to Winona State, and kind of what was that process?
I've been playing. I've been in Winona for 4 years. Got recruited by Winona from my early on junior year. They always just stuck around in the recruiting process and everything like that. And I ended up committing here pretty late in my senior year. And then freshman year I redshirted, and I had my COVID year. And then last year I got in the first 3 games. And then in the start of the fourth game, first couple series of the fourth game, I dislocated my elbow. So I ended up taking a medical red shirt last year, and then now we're here. Now we're playing, so making it through the season. Very happy about that. So. All
right. Tell me a little bit about the recovery process from the injury. I mean, not only is it a physical thing you got to come back from, but probably mental as well. Tell us what you had to go through to come back from that.
It's honestly, it was just the mental part of it was just not playing. It's been so long, since I redshirted my freshman year, then COVID, so that was 2 years, and then finally get back out into the field, and then for it to happen pretty early in the season, that was really tough, just not being able to do the thing I love to do. So honestly, just a lot of rehab. Lucky I didn't need surgery on my elbow. A lot of rehab. I've dislocated my elbow once before, so I kind of knew the recovery process and everything like that for it. But honestly, just getting back onto the field was my biggest priority. So doing a lot of rehab and just focused on the good things, being ready for the season. So.
What was that first game like coming back on the field this year?
It was great. It was honestly great. It didn't start out the way I wanted it to. I put the ball on the ground the first play of the game, first carry back. But thank God the coaches still trusted me, and I had a pretty good rest of the game. So.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you've really come out of the gate strong this year. 723 yards overall this season, 6.2 per carry. What do you attribute your success to this season?
First and foremost, definitely my offensive line. They've done a great job all year. They're opening up holes. Everything that I get is because of them. Also, Tyler Zerpoli, our fullback, will run through a brick wall for you. I love having him in front of me. I love having him block for me. Coaches putting us in the right spot to make plays, but the offensive line mainly. The offensive line and Tyler Zerpoli, and they just do what they need to do, and I got holes to run through. That's my job, is make people miss the secondary. So it's much easier, 6 yards of carry. It's easy when you're getting to the second level, and then you have to make people miss, not right at the first level. So.
Tell us what it's like to play with such a talented group of running backs, because Sam and Nick and Dominic are all in there in the mix too. So I imagine you guys help each other out a little bit.
Yeah, it's honestly awesome. In the off season, everything like that, we're all competing against each other. So. But we're all really, really close, and competing against each other every single day makes each one of us a lot better. So when you're on the field, if you're not performing and everything like that, you got 3 people right behind you waiting to get into the game, waiting to make an impact. But it's great. We just all feed off each other. We all know when each other are doing well, to kind of keep them in, because running back, I feel like it's all about the feel that you are into the game. And Sam on Saturday was really rolling, especially late in the game. So we just kept riding with Sam. I think we all have a pretty good understanding of that, and understanding of each one of our talents. So we all kind of bring something a little bit different to the table. But it's a lot of fun playing with them.
Tell us a little bit about kind of in-game things that you see, because as you said, the offensive line, they're there to make the holes for you, but if they don't, you have to kind of see what the defense is giving you. So what are some of the things that are going through your head as you have the ball and you're running towards the line?
A lot of things is you're reading your aiming point. A lot of your aiming point is the running back, so you're reading what your offensive line is doing real quick up front. I like to read linebackers, their flow, and a lot of things is studying film before the game, is knowing how safeties and linebackers are normally fit in place that you will be running. So it's all seeing just how the defense is moving, but then a lot of it is reaction. So I think having one of my strong suits is my vision. So it's just being on the field and be able to react quickly to what the defense is giving you. So because every play is going to be different, every team's going to line up and play you differently. So I think it's a lot of reaction.
All right, and last question for you. What was this game like, knocking off the number 11 team in the country this week?
It was awesome. It was a huge win for us. I think our whole team really knew going into the whole week that we could beat them. They're a very good team, but we knew what we saw in film. We matched up with them well. It was a great crowd, awesome. I had a lot of family there. It was really fun to play in. Probably one of my most exciting games I've been in Winona. But we just got to keep it rolling now. We got another big one this week, and keep on winning out, and hopefully get into the playoffs. That's the most important thing for us. So one win at a time, but this one was a really special one, really good one for our team.
All right, Ty, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck the rest of the way.
Awesome, thank you so much.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, Mitch Snitker will join us right after this.
Meet Jenny Soseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Soseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25 from the 111 Riverfront Studio in downtown Winona. We're brought to you by Russell and Associates. Time now to talk defense with Mitch Snitker, and thanks for joining us here today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
This game against Sioux Falls, let's talk about that first, because you were all over the field, kind of one of the team leaders in tackles. Tell us what you saw during this game that you were able to have success this week.
A main focus of ours this week was just really keying in on our keys as far as if it's a run or pass read. So I was able to kind of focus in on that and get run reads really quick, and that was able to get me into the fit. And that's just a testament to our coaches preaching that and making sure that was an emphasis for us this week as far as being able to identify that and being able to do our job from there. So.
Now, I know a lot of times if you see that a defensive back is leading the team in tackles or is right up there, you're thinking, oh, everybody's getting to the next level. But the way that this defense plays, I mean, you guys pursue so well that you're able to get out there first before any damage happens. Tell us a little bit about kind of the defensive scheme that allows you to do that.
As far as safeties go, or even corners in some of our defenses, usually we're accounting for one of the DBs to actually be in a part of the run fit. So that kind of comes from just kind of how we set things up in the box. They actually need us fitting the run down there, so that kind of leads to those kinds of numbers. So,
okay. Overall, defensively, how do you think this team is playing right now?
I think we're playing well all three levels. The D-line's doing a really good job getting pressure on the quarterback. I think Sioux Falls have been sacked maybe 4 times all year, and they had 5 on Saturday, so they did a great job. Our linebackers obviously have been great all year against the run, and even tipped a few balls in the pass game this week, and I think his DBs are holding our own against the pass, continuing to grow each week. So I think we're doing well defensively. Our coaches are putting us in positions that will help us be successful. So they're getting us in the right calls. So I think we're meshing really good right now.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the way that this team is able to come back from deficits. I know the coach says you guys got to start out a little bit quicker, and if you get down like 10 points, I think Mary was 10 points, this one was 10 points. What's the mindset that you have to say, we're still in this game no matter what the deficit is?
Right. I think we've seen a lot in college football in recent years. You're never out of it until it's over. So I think just knowing that, and just coach talks a lot about staying at your number, staying level-headed, and just knowing, the next task in front of you. Do that to the best of your ability and keep building on that. And at the end of the game, you're going to be where you want to be. So I think it's just a combination of all those things. So.
All right. Walk us through, if you can, kind of the general play. What are some of the things that you're looking at? What are some of the things you're reacting to? And how do you end a play, basically?
Right. So get the call from the sideline. From there, identify the formation, whether or not I have to be accounted for in the run fit or not. Find kind of who I'm supposed to be reading within that defense call. Obviously, get a runner pass read out of him if it's run. I got to be able to fit my gap. If it's pass, then I got to know what's my pass responsibility. Am I manning somebody up? Am I dropping into a zone or whatnot? And then from there, it's just pursue the football like crazy. So.
Okay. Now, what are the things for this week? Sioux Falls had a really big running back in Thurl Reisdorfer, and he only played a couple plays in the first quarter. How much does that throw you off when it's somebody else that's back there, their second running back, their third running back? Because I don't know how much you prepared during the week for just one player, but what was that like to have somebody else in the backfield?
To be honest with you, between him and number 6, they're both really good backs. But to be honest with you, I didn't even honestly realize that he had come out of the game until like halftime. So, I mean, whoever they put back there, it's still going to be the same scheme. You still got to do your part defensively, fit your gaps. So it shouldn't matter who's running the ball. If we're doing our job, it should all work out the same way. So.
All right. Last question that I asked Ty Gavin as well. What was it like for you guys to knock off the number 11 team in the country, the atmosphere for homecoming, that sort of thing?
It was cool. It was special. It's one of those things we'll remember for a long time. And shout out to the fans that were out there. They brought the energy. It was awesome to have that many people in the max, and it was a lot of fun. And those like I said, that's a memory that'll last for a long time. That was a special win. So hopefully we can keep the ball rolling and see what happens.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Appreciate it.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, Coach Brian Bergstrom will be back to talk about Augustana. That's this week's matchup right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25 from the 111 Riverfront Studios, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. We're brought to you by Russell and Associates, and Coach Brian Bergstrom back here to talk a little bit about, we'll get to Augustana, which is the next team coming up. But I know that football coaches tend not to look at standings. Sometimes they don't even look at the upcoming schedules or don't tell the players, this is what's coming up. But you're at the top of the NSIC South right now. You're a game up now on Sioux Falls and Minnesota State, who you'll see later this season. What does that feel like to be number one right now?
Well, I think you're exactly right. We're looking 1 week at a time, and Augustana is really all that matters right now. I think what's rewarding is that we're able to turn to our guys and say, great job buying in. Look at the results we're getting so far, right? And then still keep them tunnel visioned as to the next opponent and the next task at hand. But I think it helps with buy-in. It can't hurt it, right? Mm-hmm. When you are able to back up with building a culture to what we want it, when the results are at least more on your side than not. And we certainly, the cool thing about football is whether you win or you lose a game, there's a laundry list of things that went really good, and there's a laundry list of things that man, we were really poor here. And is it more fun to win? Yeah, it's more fun to win. But we got to learn lessons either way. And I'm just happy that the guys get some positive vibes from the success that we've been able to have on the scoreboard as well.
All right. What do you think the grade is for the team at this point? Because I know you said you need to start out a little quicker, not dig yourself into a hole, but yet you've been able to come back and it really hasn't hurt you. What grade would you give the team right now?
I think at the beginning of the year when we talked about this, and it was more in the C plus B minus range, and now we're in a B plus. I would say a solid B plus right now, because we just dissect the game so much, and we know that really the outcome is just a byproduct of all those plays added up, and we know how much we got to continue to keep getting better at. But we've shown that we have great kids on our team with talent that are buying in, that give great effort and make plays, that we can beat a lot of people too. So it's that, I think it's a fine line of confidence in who we are with a humility in who we are, and the fact that other people are really good football teams too. So that's what we're trying to be.
All right, Augustana is the opponent this week. They were nationally ranked last week, ended up losing to Minnesota State. What do you expect to see in Augustana when they come to Maxwell Field this week?
A very well-coached team, athletic, long, a team that plays together and that is very bought into what they're doing there. Interesting for me because I spent 4 years at Augustana as the defensive coordinator with Coach OJ, who is a mentor and a friend, and now both of us want nothing more than to beat each other this week. But I just know how similar the programs are from like behind the scenes. What's really the purpose of what we're doing here? And like I said, just have a great respect and friendship with Coach OJ. And but I know that they're going to be well coached. They're going to play really hard. They're going to be motivated after their losses to USF and to Mankato, and they're fighting for their life like we're fighting for our life. So it'll be another great day.
All right, you said that there's always a laundry list of good things and bad things that happen. What are some of the things that you're going to focus on this week in practice to try to clean up before Augustana?
Yeah. A huge emphasis in everything we do. Meetings, strength and conditioning, how we practice is going to be starting fast. We have to come out of the gates faster. And part of that is just talking about it a lot and making sure that everybody knows how important that is, because so much of it is a mindset. It's not this magical pill you take right before the game that says we're going to start fast now, but it has to be believed that it's important first. And then the order that we put drills in, how we start a meeting, how we start the strength and conditioning on this morning and on Wednesday, that's going to be a huge focus for us. We have to win the takeaway battle. It was a tie last week and a push. We gave it away twice and got it twice, and we got to be more consistent. And that's offense, defense, special teams. We've seen the highs and we've seen the lows. And as you go down the stretch and play another good team, your consistency is going to play a bigger and bigger role. So those would be the areas that we're focused on. And then there's nitty gritty things on O&D and special teams with fundamentals of the game and our vision and those kind of things. But from the big picture, that's what we're focused on.
All right, last question. How are you health-wise heading into this weekend?
Really good. We've been fortunate, knock on wood, to avoid major injuries the last few weeks and kind of got those out of the way at the beginning of the year. So we should be rolling and couldn't be more excited. And we're not ready yet. We'll be ready by Saturday at 1 and hope to see everybody out there.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here this week, and good luck this week against Augustana.
Thanks, Justin.
All right, and hopefully everybody turns out for that game, and if you can't, you can watch it right here on HBC starting at 1 o'clock against Augustana. That's going to do it for us this week on the Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.